New polling finds President Joe Biden and Donald Trump battling in every swing state, but Biden making up significant ground from just last month. In the latest Bloomberg Morning Consult poll, Trump leads in Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, while Biden leads in Michigan. But after the survey showed Trump up by 8 points in Nevada last month, the new poll finds the two candidates tied. Biden has also cut Trump's 6-point lead in Georgia to 3 points and his 4-point lead in Wisconsin to just 1 point, while making similar gains in Arizona and North Carolina. All of these results, Joe, are within the margin of error.
Well, especially in the three states that really matter the most right now, with, of course, the upper Midwest states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. But, you know, J. Mart, we're going to state what everybody knows. It's May. These things are so random. As I was saying before, the Morning Joe betting lines were open, and we were giving the plus 13 after the New York Times Siena poll, the plus 13 in Nevada, which
you could have made a lot of money that day. Yeah, exactly.
we would have piled on as much money as we made, as we did from unsuspecting Frenchmen who thought that Macron actually was going to lose to Le Pen when everybody was saying that. We put the over-under at 58.5, and we're right. But here, let's just talk about the randomness of these polls, J. Mart, because you know this better than anybody. You've talked to the campaigns. In this poll, the only state they have Joe Biden ahead in is the one state in the upper Midwest where his campaign thinks he faces the toughest currents, and that is Michigan. Right? That's Michigan, right? They think they're comfortably ahead, though they would never say it in front of a camera in Wisconsin. They're feeling pretty good there. And then again, Nevada, here we're talking about a 13-point lead, then a 7-point lead last month, now a dead heat. Right. I mean, all of these states are going to be so close, and Nevada's just one of those states. I don't know how they do it, but it's always close, and Democrats always end up winning. So, way too early, baby.
Yeah.
Way too early. But any takeaways?
A snapshot.
Yeah,
still
the last time, I think
it's close.
It's very close. The last time that a Republican carried Nevada was Bush in 2004. That's 2 decades now. So it does tilt Democratic. I will say the sort of Harry Reid organization out there is superb. This is their tallest task yet. Trying to keep Biden is going to be enormously difficult. But Nevada's important, though, because it does give Biden some tiny insurance policy if he can stay competitive there. Otherwise, he has to run the inside straight. Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. He can't afford to lose a single one of those. And that's where the ball game is, Joe. It's in those 3 Big Ten states. Look, I think they're all basically a toss-up right now. Here's the good news for Biden. He's got 3 governors in all of those states who are Democrats, who have a lot on the line, too, who need to really pull out a win, 2 of which want to run for president themselves in 2028, Whitmer and Shapiro. So they have a lot to help for themselves and for Joe Biden.
And very proven ground games. You know, I got a lot of faith in those operations.
Yeah, I mean, the ground game is kind of like a field goal in football. If you can get the score down to about 3 points, the ground game really matters, right?
Yeah.
If he's down 13 in Nevada, it doesn't matter at all, right?
Correct. Yeah, look, I was in Nevada over the weekend talking to the delegates of the Nevada Democratic Party convention. A lot of frayed nerves, but a lot of confidence in the ground game, in part because the Republicans right now don't have one. It's not that they have one, but it's not as good. They don't have one. Now, they will end up with one. I think that, you know, the concern has to be for the Biden campaign that directionally, when all the polls are pointing in one direction, 1 points, 5 points. It usually means that that's where things are. But on the other hand, we've seen these swing state polls fluctuate. And that's what Democrats are hoping to do, is get this into a jump ball when early voting starts, so that the edge they have in the field can make the difference and push Biden over the top.
And, Joe, to David's point, I mean, they're close. These are close, and it shows there's work to do for the Biden campaign in so many different directions.
I'm torn. Because I love American democracy.
Me too.
And at the same time, I hate listening to Democratic bedwetting every day. I want them to be scared, so they'll work harder. I want them to be wetting their bed every morning so they get up and work harder all day.
Okay,
I don't want to tell them that they have money on. Exactly. Yeah, you get up, watch Morning Joe. I'll tell you it's okay. You clean yourself off and you go out and you work hard all day. But there is an awful lot of bedwetting here when you consider, Claire, you've done this. You've done this on a very large level.
Yes,
They've got the money. They've got the ground game. They've got the non-fascist candidate. They're outworking. They're outworking Trump. Even when Trump's off, he's golfing or he's doing other loony things. And you know, I don't want to tell people I feel good about this, but I feel good about this. I think if they work harder, they keep having more money, and they build that ground game. You look at Wisconsin; they're probably the best party chairman in the nation in Wisconsin. And then you put the governor on top of that, do the same in Michigan, do the same in Pennsylvania, a couple great governors there. You know what? They've got a lot going in their favor.
Yeah, and don't forget, we have Senate candidates in those states, too. And they are doing remarkably well. If this is all about changing parties, somebody needs to let the folks that are responding to polls in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, let them know that those Senate candidates support the same policies that President Biden has embraced. And, you know, last night, Joe, I was looking really carefully. It's really interesting to see which party is going to be more extreme, because typically the party that is most extreme has the most difficulty in these states that swing back and forth. You look at what happened in Oregon last night, where you had very progressive candidates from local DA in Portland all the way to 2 open congressional seats, and the moderates won. They swept the table. Wow. So I think that what you're seeing here is a coming home to understanding that Joe Biden is a decent man with loads of integrity. And for those swing voters, that's going to matter. And the more Donald Trump talks, he is way more extreme today than he was ever in 2016 or 2020. He is saying things that he didn't even think about saying back in those elections. And the more he's out there, the more it's going to help Joe Biden.
Far more extreme. Again, Joe Biden, you know, it's never going to look like Beatlemania when Joe Biden steps off a plane going to an event. Joe Biden's about normalcy. And by the way, if you don't think that's a winning message in 24, you're not talking to the right voters who, even if they voted for Trump in 16, are exhausted now. I do want to say, Mika, following up on what Claire said, let's compare what happened in Oregon last night, which, thank God, they voted in some moderate DAs. Thank God, after the chaos in Oregon over the past 8 years, maybe they're returning to the middle. I mean, they already, like, you know, handing out, you know, heroin and gum machines up there. It's just absolute lunacy. Lunacy. And so thank God the voters said enough of that. And we want moderate DAs. We want a moderate approach. We actually want to hold criminals, responsible for crimes. So that's important. But we can go from Oregon on this extremism to North Carolina. I never thought I would say this, but the extremism of the Republican Party in North Carolina and their gubernatorial candidate, and I think their candidate for Commissioner of Education, I don't know if I have that title right, are so extreme.
Yeah.
They actually have put North Carolina into play, which I would have told you 3 months ago was not possible.
Right. Well, just to counter your earlier statement, I don't feel good about this. So you can.
There you go. Work harder, everybody. She's scared.
I don't feel good about this as a candidate, and with many members of the Republican Party who do not adhere to norms and have no boundaries, do not respect the law, do not respect human life, do not respect a woman's right to choose, do not respect, do not respect, do not respect. So, and that's
why they're going to lose.
I do not feel good about this. So.